Okay, so we've been looking at how you can define your own functions and basically add to the vocabulary of your programming language, if it's Python or Logo, or many other programming languages have the same capabilities. In this lesson, I want to take a look at a couple of tools that we can use to see how functions and expressions generally in Python get evaluated. So if we go to Code Sculptor, in the Demos section, there's a tab that's called PyStep. And if you go to this link right here and click Run, this takes you to a bunch of sample programs and gives you a way of kind of stepping through them. I want to. There are a lot of different levels here, and you can look at the different ones. I want to flip over to the function examples, and actually I'm going to take a look at the step. I want to take a look at this example, the Fahrenheit to Celsius example. Okay, so you remember with this one, this looks a little bit different from the one we did because it has abbreviated function names. But here we have a function called f to c that converts Fahrenheit into Celsius. And we use f to c in this function definition here for converting Fahrenheit to Kelvin. Okay, and it converts the temperature to Celsius, and then it adds 273.15 to the Celsius value to get the Kelvin. Okay, so it's this idea that you can create a new word, you can add a new word to the vocabulary of your computer, of your programming language, and then you can use that word inside other programs, that new method or function that you created. Okay, so let's just walk step by step through this one and take a look at how it works here. So the first step, notice the f to c definition that we had went away. I'll get it back. You can always unstep to get stuff back, but this f to c kind of gets popped off and shows up over here as just, these are the values of the current variables. The name of it is f to c, and it's a function. Its type is type function. So we created a new variable that's a function name when we did that by defining it. So the next thing we're going to do is create a new function named f to k. So we're defining another function called f to k that's going to create another global variable f to k. So let's step through that and do that. Okay, so now we have our f to k. Okay, and then the next thing we want to do is print out f to k. We want to evaluate that on an input of 212. So let me just back up again for a second. So what we're doing is we define these two functions, and we're going to make a call to the second function with an input argument of 212. So this f is going to take on the value of 212. So let's step through again. So we define f to c. We define f to k. Now we're going to try to print this. Let's see what happens. So we say print. Okay, so now we get all of this stuff. What's all this business? Well, now we're in the function f to k now. Okay, so the first thing that happens in that function f to k is that we assign the value 212 to what was in f. So let's unstep for a second here. So this 212 gets assigned to this f. Okay, so now wherever you see an f in the body of this function, it's going to get replaced by 212 because of this call right here. Okay, if we'd have said f to k 0, then this would have been assigned as 0, and it would be 0 every place. All right. So let's step through. Now another thing you'll notice is these little subscripts here, and that's just to keep track, because we might have, you know, f's in other places, or, you know, we just want to keep track of what we're which f we're working with. So right now, so we're just going to give this a subscript of 1 and say we're working with f sub 1 with a value of 212. But that's just our f from the f to k function. Okay. Now our the next thing we did was assign the result of that of this function here to c. So again, let me unstep for a second. So first we said I'm going to assign 212 to f, because I did this call. I'm going to assign 212 to f. Then I'm going to call f to c on that 212 and assign that result to c. So let's step through it again. So that's what's happening here. So first we assign 212 to the f, and now we're going to assign whatever result we get here to the c. Now notice right now this says f1, but remember we assigned 212 to f1. See, so we got to set local variable f to be 212. So let's step and do that. So that's what we did. So we evaluated the local variable f, and now it's 212. So now we're going to call f to c on this 212, and that gets assigned to this c1. And then once that happens, once we get that result, and we have our new value of c1, then we're going to say c1 plus 273.15, and that's going to get assigned to here. But before we can get our value for c1, notice we're going to have to step into this function right here, this f to c. So let's do that. So we'll take a step, and now look at where we are. We're in f to c now. Okay, so now we're assigned. Now we have an f sub 2. Okay, because both of these guys, and I'm going to unstep all the way back. So both of these guys have an f associated with them. So to separate them out, this is the first method that we called. We called f to k with 212. So to separate them out, we made this be f1 when we said, okay, I'm going to assign 212 to f1, and then this became f2. Okay, so let's step through and get back to where we were. So then, yeah, so we went here, and we went there, right? We evaluated that, and now we have an f2 of 212. Okay, so now we're going to do this operation to get the return value for this function. Okay, so let's see here. We're going to say step, and now we have to evaluate. One of the nice things about this about PyStep is it will really step you through each individual thing. So we have to set the local variable f to be 212. So we're going to have to change this to 212. And then the next step is evaluated local variable f. Okay, we did that. And now what we're going to have to do is, well, if you look at the parentheses, the next thing that's going to have to happen is this subtraction, right? So let's see. And there it is. Okay, so we evaluated the minus, and the next thing we're going to have to do is evaluate the multiplication, right? So we evaluated the times, and now we have 900 divided by 9. So that should give us 100. So we evaluated the division, we got 100, and now we can assign the 100 to this value. Okay, so we've set the local variable f to c to be 100. So this is just our way of saying that 100 is going to be our return value. Okay, so we're going to return that value. So we return the 100. Okay, we evaluated the f to c. We return 100. And now we're back in our f to k function. Okay, so we return from there, and now we can evaluate this. We know this is going to be 100, right? So we can set that. Okay, so that's 100, and now we can assign the 100 to the c1, and now we can again, in this statement, evaluate the C1 to be 100. Okay, so we evaluated that local variable, and now we can do this addition. Evaluated the plus, and now we can assign this value to our f to k 0. That's that. Okay, we return that and come back out of our f to k. Oh wait, we gotta evaluate one more time. Then we return, and we gotta, now we can print. We're gonna evaluate this to be that, and then we can print it. Okay, so that's PyStep. Now there's another thing you can use that might be more helpful for some evaluating some things, which is PythonTutor. The drawback with PythonTutor is, let's see, well, you can't do simple GUI in here, right? But you can. But if you go to pythontutor.com, we can do the example we just did, and I just want to show you the difference. So if I say edit code, I'm not going to use that. I'm going to paste in the. So this is exactly the same thing that we were looking at with Fahrenheit to Celsius. If I click on visualize, so you can type in whatever Python code you want in here. I'm going to hit visualize execution, and you'll see if I say 4. So now this shows you the red arrow points to the next line to execute. So we're starting up here again at the top, defining our functions. Okay, but see, it's a little bit of a different format. So this says, okay, I'm defining a global variable, f to c, and that's going to be a function, and it looks like this. So we have it points to that function. And then I defined another one, f to k, so now I have 2 global variables floating around. Now I'm going to try doing the print. So if I say forward, it says, okay, well, the first thing I got to do is I have to go into the function f to k, right? And in doing that, I'm binding the value 212 to my f. Okay, so the call was with a parameter of 212. F gets the value of 212. Okay, my next step is going to be this one, c equals f to c f, which is going to mean we have to apply f to c, so I'll need to go in here, but let's just step it and see what happens. Okay, so now so this green arrow shows you the line that was just executed. So we were just here, right? And we said, okay, well, I need to go up to f to c and see how to evaluate f to c with an input of f. So I know my f is 212 because that's what got passed down here. So now I'm in f to c, and see, instead of subscripts, they're just showing like a separate rectangle. So we have f to c. So there, in this case, the f is 212. So now we're going to return a value, and it says, okay, I'm going to return 100. So you see, it doesn't do quite as much like step-by-step evaluation as PyStep, but in a way, it's kind of, I like the way that it has the each frame set up and then the return value and everything. So see what happens now. There's a return. Now that there's a return value, we can go back to where we were and assign a value to C. Okay, so we're just about to leave here. Let's see what happens with a return value of 100. So we go here. So now we've set C to 100 because that was the return value from this function. So we've set C to 100, and now we can return 100 plus 273.15, which is going to be 373.15. Okay, so this says that's going to be our return value from here. So now when we return from here, we're going to go to back to our print statement, and we're going to be able to print out the 373.15. So let's go to there, and there's the output. Okay, so these are two different tools that you can use. Like I said, I would check out both of them, and look, there are lots of examples already built in to to PyStep, so you can just look through the examples. But if you have a piece of code, like I said, you can't do simple GUI stuff. But for a lot of examples, you can just plop the code in over here and hit visualize execution and play that one out. So, and again, when you initially get to the site, you'll see this, but there's a if you just click on Start Using Online Python Tutor Now, then you can you just select but if you click, so select all from the menu didn't work, but if you're clicking inside this box and hold down the command key for Apple, or control key probably for Windows, and press A, then you can highlight everything and just delete it, or so you can type in or paste in whatever you want to visualize, and then hit visualize execution. Okay, so 2 tools for looking more closely at how statements and functions and everything get evaluated in Python.